They say a man doesn't truly conquer the world until he conquers himself. But what if the enemy you're fighting isn't out there, it's inside your own skull? Addiction isn't just drugs or porn or scrolling your phone at 2 a.m. It's that invisible chain you keep pretending you can break next time. But every next time ends the same way. You lose again. And the worst part, it's not because you're weak. It's because you've been fighting the wrong war. Let me take you back to 1604, Kyoto. A man stands alone on a blood-soaked battlefield. His name, Miyamoto Musashi. He was the most dangerous swordsman Japan had ever seen. 60 duels, undefeated, unmatched. But here's what history doesn't tell you. Musashi wasn't addicted to killing. He was addicted to winning, the praise, the fear in other men's eyes, the sense of power. Every duel wasn't about survival anymore. It was about ego. He needed it, just like you need that dopamine hit, that escape, that false control. For 17 years, Musashi's sword didn't just cut down enemies, it fed his addiction to validation. Until one day, he realized something horrifying. The blade that had made him powerful had also made him empty. Let's dive in. 1. Your addiction is your identity. This is the truth most people never face. You're not fighting a habit, you're fighting yourself. Musashi wasn't someone who liked dueling, he was a duelist. That was his entire identity. His name, his purpose, his reason to wake up every morning. Every move, every decision, every heartbeat served that one role. I am the undefeated warrior. Sound familiar? You don't struggle with porn. You are someone who regulates emotion through lust. You don't struggle with social media. You are someone whose existence is tied to validation. You don't struggle with procrastination. You are someone who avoids pain through distraction. It's not weakness, it's structure. Your identity has been built around it, and that's why willpower never works. Because every time you resist, you're fighting your own architecture. You've been trying to stop being you. That's not discipline, that's suicide of identity. Every relapse doesn't prove you're weak. It proves your current identity is still alive and in control. That's why every day one feels harder than the last, because every failure reinforces that identity even deeper. I am someone who struggles with this, and that belief alone chains you tighter. 2. Musashi's dark realization. After years of blood and fame, Musashi stood surrounded by corpses from the Yoshioka massacre, a school of dozens of skilled fighters he'd killed in a single day. The crowd saw glory. Musashi saw decay. He looked at his hands, stained not just with blood, but with the proof that his addiction had become a god that demanded constant sacrifice, more opponents, more fights, more validation. He was winning externally, but losing internally, and that's when it hit him. You don't destroy addiction by fighting it. You destroy it by becoming someone it doesn't recognize anymore. So, he did something no warrior of his kind had ever done. He disappeared. He vanished into the mountains. No duels, no fame, no audience, just silence. For years, Musashi stripped away every layer of who he was. The duelist died slowly, not through resistance, but starvation. He began painting, sculpting, meditating, writing. His sword collected dust. His ego starved. And what emerged from those mountains was not a killer, but a philosopher. A man so calm, so precise, that even death couldn't shake him. He didn't quit dueling, he outgrew it. 3. The real battle isn't quitting, it's evolving. You can't quit an addiction, you can only outgrow it. Because quitting means tearing a part of yourself away, but outgrowing means building something bigger. The question isn't, how do I stop this habit? It's, who must I become so this habit becomes irrelevant? Think about it. When you were a child, maybe you were addicted to cartoons. Now, you don't even crave them. Why? Because you outgrew that phase. You became someone else. Musashi didn't say, I will stop fighting. He said, I will become more than a fighter. He expanded, he added new identities, artist, strategist, teacher, and one by one, the old pieces of himself crumbled. This is the secret path of all transformation. You don't delete identities, you crowd them out. If 90% of you right now is the addict, then your mission isn't to fight that 90%. It's to build 9 other identities that slowly crush it into 10%, then 5%, until it's irrelevant. That's how Musashi won his final battle, the one inside his mind. 4. The inner war of every addict. Let me tell you a story. A man once came to me and said, I've tried to quit porn for years, I've deleted apps, blocked websites, prayed, cried, nothing works. I asked him, "Who are you when you're not fighting the urge?" He looked confused. "What do you mean?" That's the problem. He didn't know. His entire existence revolved around fighting the addiction, not building a new identity beyond it. So every time he resisted, he was still orbiting the same center, the addiction itself. That's why nothing changed, because fighting keeps you chained to the battlefield. You don't win by fighting harder, you win by changing the terrain. 5. The battlefield strategy. The warrior chooses the battlefield. The coward fights wherever he's told to. That line isn't about dueling. It's about control. Musashi knew that if you fight in an environment that feeds your enemy, you lose before you start. It's the same with addiction. If your environment feeds your triggers, your battle is already lost. You're trying to resist temptation while bathing in it. You're trying to fast while surrounded by food. You don't fix addiction through strength. You fix it through strategy. 6. Musashi's system of transformation. Musashi's transformation wasn't spiritual fluff. It was tactical. And it had 3 phases. Phase 1, detach from identity. He stepped away from the duelist's world, physically and mentally. No more duels, no more applause. He broke the loop of validation. For you, this means distance from the environment that keeps you weak. If it's lust, remove the access. If it's social media, strip the colors, delete the apps, break the pattern. Don't fight in the same terrain where you keep losing. Phase 2, replace the void. Musashi didn't just sit in silence. He replaced fighting with painting. He redirected his obsessive energy into creation. He didn't quit intensity. He repurposed it. You must do the same. Take the same energy you waste chasing dopamine and build something. Hit the gym, build a skill, learn a craft. Your addiction isn't the problem. It's a misdirected strength. You just haven't pointed that fire at the right target yet. Phase 3, become unrecognizable. By his 50s, Musashi was a different being. He wrote the Book of 5 Rings, a masterpiece of clarity, discipline, and strategy. He spoke of combat, not as bloodshed, but as a metaphor for life itself. The duelist identity had vanished. The addiction had nothing left to grab onto. That's the end game. You don't defeat addiction, you make it irrelevant. 7. The shadow within. There's a line from the movie Fight Club. It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything. Addiction makes you afraid to lose, afraid to be without it. But freedom only begins when you let that part of yourself die. Musashi had to kill the duelist inside him before he could find peace. You'll have to do the same. Every addiction is a ghost whispering, "Don't leave me." And most men never do. They cling to it until it becomes their coffin. But those who face it, those who burn it, they rise from the ashes sharper than steel. 8. Musashi's mental war against desire. Musashi didn't fight addiction the way modern people do, with temporary restraint, guilt, or positive affirmations. He fought it like he fought an opponent with a sword, with precision, control, and strategy. To him, addiction was not about alcohol, comfort, lust, or distraction. It was about attachment. And attachment, in Musashi's eyes, was the true enemy of mastery. He understood something most men never realize. You don't conquer addiction by suppressing it. You conquer it by reprogramming your instincts until your very nature rejects weakness. Let's break down how he did that and how you can do the same. 9. Control the environment like a battlefield. Musashi treated his surroundings like a battlefield. He knew every environment shapes the mind, just as a battlefield shapes a warrior's moves. He never allowed himself to live in a place that softened him. No luxury, no excess, no comfort that would dull his spirit. He lived in caves, temples, remote areas, places where distractions died. This was deliberate. He was designing an environment that aligned with his mission. Because here's the truth. You can't escape addiction if your environment keeps feeding it. You can't stop scrolling if your phone is the first thing you see when you wake up. You can't stop eating garbage if your fridge is full of it. You can't find focus if you live surrounded by noise, screens, and people who glorify mediocrity. Musashi learned this lesson centuries before we were even born. You must design your world to support your discipline. He didn't rely on willpower, he relied on structure. He knew that even the strongest warrior becomes weak if he lives in a palace of pleasure. So ask yourself, would your environment make Musashi proud, or would it disgust him? If you want to kill addiction, first remove the weapons your enemy uses against you. Delete, distance, Disconnect. Make your world a temple, not a trap. 10. The single deadly mental technique, cutting attachment. Musashi wrote in the Book of Five Rings, "Do nothing which is of no use." These words were his blade against addiction. He trained himself to cut everything that didn't serve his purpose, instantly, without hesitation. He called this mindset cutting attachment. Every time he felt desire pulling him, whether for comfort, ego, or pleasure, he imagined it as an opponent drawing a sword, and he cut it down in his mind. No emotion, no debate, no negotiation, just a clean mental slice. Modern people fail because they argue with their urges, they wrestle with temptation, they delay, they rationalize. Musashi didn't argue, he executed. If something weakened his discipline, he cut it. If a thought distracted him, he cut it. If a person pulled him away from purpose, he cut them out too. To practice this, he lived like a ghost. He trained alone, he walked alone. He became addicted not to comfort, but to clarity. This is the technique you must learn, to treat every useless craving like an enemy in battle. Don't hesitate, don't question, don't feel sorry for it, just cut it down. Each time you do, you reclaim a piece of your power. 11. Rewiring the mind, the Musashi reversal. Musashi's genius was not just in denial, it was in reversal. He understood that the mind can't live in a void. If you remove an addiction but don't replace it with something stronger, the void pulls you back in. So he reversed his cravings. When others sought pleasure, he sought pain. When others ran from discomfort, he ran toward it. When others chased excitement, he chased stillness. He rewired his brain to associate pleasure with discipline and disgust with indulgence. That's why he could train for days without food. That's why he could meditate for hours without moving. He wasn't fighting his urges anymore. He had transformed them. You can do the same. When you feel the craving rise, don't run. Observe it, study it, feel it burn, and then tell yourself, this is my training. Every craving becomes a test. Every discomfort becomes a dojo. Every temptation becomes a lesson in control. This is the Musashi reversal, turning addiction into a weapon that strengthens your mind instead of weakening it. 12. The death of the old self. At the core of Musashi's transformation was death. Not physical death, but the death of the old self. He believed you must die to your former identity to become invincible. He said that there are many different ways to reach your goal. For Musashi, this meant killing every version of himself that was attached to weakness, the man who needed validation, pleasure, or routine. Only then could he be reborn as something unbreakable. When you're trying to kill addiction, you're not just changing habits, you're performing a death ritual. You are destroying the old identity that was addicted, the one who needed dopamine to survive. If you truly want freedom, you must let that version of you die. Burn it, bury it, walk away, and never look back. And every time that old self whispers, just one more time, you silence it with the words, that man is dead. 13. Living as the blade. Musashi taught us that the highest goal of learning to fight is to live a life where you never need to. In the same way, the goal of self-mastery is not constant resistance, it's freedom. When you cut enough attachments, when you control your environment, when your mind no longer bends to impulse, you don't need to fight addiction anymore. It dies on its own. You stop craving, you stop chasing, you stop depending on external stimulation to feel alive. Because now, you are the stimulation, you are the fire. That's what Musashi became, a man who needed nothing, a man who could walk into any world, any battle, any moment, untouched by temptation. That's the level you must reach, where your habits, your focus, and your inner peace are unshakable, because your entire being has been forged in the flames of discipline. 14. The final cut. Musashi didn't conquer his addictions with comfort or kindness. He conquered them through ruthless self-mastery. He turned his environment into armor, his mind into a weapon, and his will into steel. And that's the lesson for us. You don't fight addiction by being gentle with yourself. You fight it by becoming dangerous enough to destroy what's destroying you. Musashi's path wasn't easy, but it worked. Because it was built on truth. You don't need more motivation. You need control. You don't need healing. You need war. And when that war is over, when the smoke clears and the cravings die, you'll realize something powerful. You didn't just kill an addiction. You killed the weakest version of yourself, and what remains is the blade. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one.